Hey everybody, it's Dale.
And this is Eric.
And welcome to the Transformers Beast Wars podcast.
Which you could find at OptimusPrimecast.com.
This week, episode number 15.
The Spark.
Written by Larry DiTilio.
And directed by Colin Davies.
Rhinox and Cheetor must defend a crashed stasis pod from the Predicons. They are successful and Air Razor is born. The concept of sparks is introduced in this episode. It is a concept that is used in Transformer lore that is still used today.
Nice.
Yeah, so this is fantastic. I have been looking forward to this episode.
I have two alternate titles to this episode.
Okay, go on.
The first one is The Story of the Whirs and the Beeps. And then the other one is Every Spark is Sacred. Which is a play on a Monty Python song, so look it up. You know, it's funny. Well, not The Spark is Sacred, but well, just do your research. You'll find out.
Yeah, since Air Razor is a bird, I would edit your first alternate title to be The Birds and the Beeps.
Okay.
I think that totally works.
All right, yeah, it does totally work. But I was thinking more of bot versus,
yeah,
change it up. And way to lay a spoiler, man. We didn't even get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that.
It was in the synopsis. We can't win them all.
So we open up to a scene where we find out how asteroids are just a jerk to pods.
Dude, they
Stasis
seriously
pods.
are. That stasis pod up in orbit really got whacked.
Yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, hey man, I'm just in my normal decaying orbit,
just
and then
yeah.
asteroid's like, no,
knocks
him out.
Got hit super hard and starts almost immediately burning up in the atmosphere.
Yeah, it knocks it on such a steep
trajectory.
Trajectory that it starts burning up immediately.
And this is doing actual damage to the pod.
Yeah, it did some critical damage as it starts entering in the pod's, I guess, sexy computer voice.
Yeah,
for
the pod's sexy computer.
Damage to hatch seals and internals. Attempting to initiate emergency sequence.
The pod, it has a nice personality voice. Ends up saying that structural damage to the hatch and performing emergency sequences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some kind of emergency stuff is happening.
Yeah, but never clarifies. It's just like, what? Anyway,
hey, we're not in a good way. That's the that's what they're trying to convey to us. The stasis pod is in danger.
Yeah, so it starts heading in, and then we cut to
Tarantulas, who is watching hungrily his monitor and quietly asking his monitor where it's going to land.
Yeah, he does this looks side to side, checks anyone
he doesn't
around.
He doesn't have eyes, man. He doesn't have eyes, and you can tell when he's being shifty.
Yeah, he's does this lean forward, looks around the room or whatever, and then asks the computer to do stuff. It's like,
where do you think it's going to land?
Yeah. Because we all know what happened last time, he got a hold of a pod.
He wants to make a spider bot. He's going to make a whole spider harem.
Yeah.
And then the show's just going to get really weird.
Yeah, and then Megatron catches him basically
what are you doing?
Yes. Oh, God, it's nothing. It's nothing. Oh, turn away. No, it's not what you think. It's not. It's a research project. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Just doing my homework.
Yeah.
He just got caught with a Playbot, with a Playbot magazine folded up in his math homework.
He got a hold of some very racy data. But yeah, then he's like, oh no, I'm just doing this thing, and then Megatron sees, what's going on.
Something landing. Stasis pod is landing. Ooh, delightful. Yes.
Yes.
Where's it landing? It's landing in Louis Vega? Sorry, Grid Vega. Sorry. A little bit of Megatron all night long.
Oh god.
So it's landing in Grid Vega. I actually don't know that's what the Maximals call it. I don't know if the Predicons are using the same grid. That would be the type of thing where
it'd be very silly.
That would be weird if they did have the same
they had a meeting
for everything. Yeah, they had a meeting like Megatron and Optimus.
We're
like,
gonna
okay,
call this.
Yeah.
This is gonna be our grid.
Yeah, we have to just decide where Zero is so we can start gridding this out. But
it starts going into their territory.
It's going to land.
It's
going to land in Predacon territory.
Yeah.
So somebody's got to be nearby Scorponok and Black Arachnia.
Yeah, and Tarantulas makes it. He's like, no, send me
out
there.
Should go. My
programming
expertise is needed here. Megatron's not having it.
No, he's like, you have homework to do.
Yeah.
He's like, oh man, I knew I shouldn't have said I'm doing homework.
They can go get it. You stay here, where I can keep an eye on you. And then they both have this little under the breath exchange.
Tyrant. treacherous arachnids.
So they know what's going on.
Yeah, they know what's going on. And then we cut to Rhinox having a
smelling the flowers.
A typical Rhinox woman.
Yeah.
Oh well, nothing going on around here. Hey, what is that? It's like he's just about to say, I guess I should go back home now. Oh, it would be a shame if something important and critical to my plot were to happen at this very moment where I need to go back home.
Might as well.
Looks like it's time to advance the story, you guys. Ooh, a stasis pod.
Yeah.
And then he vomits out his face. Rhinox is gross.
Yes, Rhinox is gross. And then so he starts heading back.
Oh,
and
he
then
tries to call.
Rhinox to base. Slag.
Yeah,
tries to call,
and his
and-
radio isn't working.
Mm-hmm. I like the fact that we have stuck to the communications sucking. The rule. The rule is there. The rule is there, and it is enforced.
You could say that it's enforced, but there have been times where it's slipped in the past as well.
Mhm.
I think the way that I took this is, like his communication isn't working, is that basically he's right next to a big, a vent of energon that's spewing.
Yeah, he was
bursts
by
of
those anyway,
energy.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
Those are like energon geysers.
Yeah. I was actually thinking of them like the flame spuds in the
Princess Bride?
in the Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They were going off.
Yeah. But
and in the show, we do have a rodent of unusual size.
We do. We do. But yeah, I thought it was like more like that geyser of energon was what was directly affecting his communications. Like in that instance, communications are always crappy, but in any case, so he can't radio anyone, and he just decides he's just going to go after it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, by I wouldn't even call it a stroke of luck. I mean, if you've seen stuff falling out of the sky like that, it's at a bad trajectory. That stuff leaves a big old contrail, and it's flaming in the atmosphere. So Cheetor sees it on his patrol too.
Yeah, which on Colin Davies' behalf, I'd like to say that was a really nice swipe. Really nice transition.
Oh yeah, that transition.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there have been really nice transitions in this episode. Like, I'm just really, it's such a big sigh of relief from the
Was it the last one?
horrible transition of the signal. Was it the signal? No,
No, it
the
was
the probe episode.
the one with the one where Rhinox turns bad.
No, the one where the probe comes into. No, you're right. It was the Rhinox bad episode.
Yeah.
Rhinox
bad.
So yeah, that was Dark Designs and Owen Hurley. That's right, because he makes you want to hurley. But yeah, Colin Davies has got it going on.
Slick. Yeah, we had slick editing, really good direction.
Yeah, really nice camera angles and everything. Mm-hmm. So we transition, like you said, we transition to Cheetor.
Who sees it, and he calls Big Cat. He calls Tigertron.
Yeah, and there's this like, oh, it's a scout come in or whatever, and then Tigertron's like, come in, little cat.
Hey there, Big Cat.
Hey there, Big Cat. It's like, it's like, do they just like go and cuddle like later when they get back to base?
I don't know
Big
what
cat,
kind of
little cat
stuff happens.
But yeah,
Either way, they're close.
They're close.
Oh, come on, it's Cheetor. Cheetor loves everybody. Cheetor heart everybody.
Shut up. I know where you're going to go with that. You could just, no.
I wasn't even thinking about Dinobot.
Okay, you know what?
Okay.
Fine, forget it.
Whatever. All right, so Tigertron sends him to go on ahead, and he'll meet him.
Yeah. He says, Cheetor says, you know what? Radio the base. Radio everyone else. Tell everyone else. Tell everyone. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, already done. Liar. You never did it. He's like, consider it done, or it's done. No, it's not. But yeah, so
Tigertron does his hunting alone.
So he takes off. Cheetor makes a beeline, a straight line.
Yeah.
A cheetah line.
He makes a cheetah line.
He makes a cheetah line.
I would argue that Cheetor is making a dog line. A dog line. Because dogs can only move in a straight direction. They can't figure out if they're like on a chain or something, and then a post is impeding the chain from straightening. Dogs won't really turn around, go back around, and then enable themselves to get anywhere. But cats can. Because dogs are stupid. I love dogs more than I love cats, but dogs are dumb. So Cheetor is pretty dumb. But either way, he's making a straight line. He's going to meet the stasis pod where it's crash landing.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Tigertron goes and starts heading off to heading, I guess, back into range or something to try to radio.
I think he
just starts taking off towards like the jungle and
he's
forest.
going for he's going for a walk. We'll see him in a second because
either that he's just a real big jerk. Because he obviously did not radio the base.
Mm-hmm.
It's done.
Because we don't see it.
Yeah, there's no Optimus.
And then later on, he's like, oh yeah, backup's on the way or whatever, but no backup comes.
Mm-hmm. So we cut to Scorponok and Black Arachnia.
Yeah, and they're walking through, and of course Scorponok heart Megatron.
Is he just walking around talking about how much he loves Megatron? Oh no. I'm trying to remember what cued him, why he started waxing poetic about Megatron.
Well,
but it was he says, "There's the stasis pod, just like Megatron said it would be. Just where Megatron said it would be." Oh,
Just as Megatron said.
Megatron.
And then Black Arachnia is like, shut up.
Yeah, he's not even here. You don't have to kiss his butt when he's not even here.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a little bit of banter here and there. It's just a brief cut to them.
Yeah.
And while this is going on, there's a foreshadowing shot, which I think I missed because it was a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
A foreshadowing shot when Rhinox went off to run in the distance to go catch up with his pod. There was what looked like a hawk.
Yes.
A hawk.
There was a hawk
on the precipice that was watching him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I was thinking that since I've seen the episode before, I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, a little foreshadowing there. But also, if you look at all the other episodes, you see Pterosaur ate one of them hawks.
Well, Pterosaur ate an eagle. That was
specifically an eagle.
That was specifically an eagle.
Because we have been seeing some birds here and there. I was thinking that they did a pretty good job at it. It was foreshadowing, but it was also a shot that was plausible, given things that we've already seen. You know, it's not like they were like, "Look, there's a bird! I put a bird in your face. This show is about a bird."
Yeah, we put birds on things.
Yeah. There must be a cheap CGI model to.
All right, guys. What's free license?
Yeah. What have we got laying around? Just
I don't know. We had a couple college kids that made a 3D model of a hawk.
Okay, all right, use it. Throw it on a thing. It's watching Rhinox run off into the distance. Who has his spiky boots and his miniskirt?
Yeah, which
He's
is
looking sexy.
Yeah, he kept the boots. He kept the spiky
Yeah,
boots.
he
I
kept
guess
the
when
spiky
he's bad.
boots. I don't know when that happened.
I don't know either because
the first time we realized it was when he turned bad.
Yeah,
So maybe either he kept them, or we have just seriously not been paying attention to Rhinox's boot wear, like footwear.
Maybe, or they got lazy. Like whoever actually did the designs and everything for that episode, Rhinox bad episode, Dangerous Designs,
Dark Designs
came up. Dark Design, sorry, Dark Designs came up with a character design for Evil Rhinox, or Goth Rhinox, and then they never went back to the original model afterwards. Because I've also noticed that Rhinox's teeth are still sharp.
Yeah.
They're not back to being dull anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the sharp teeth and the spiky boots are an indication of them getting a bigger budget.
Maybe. Maybe.
Because seriously, the animation does tighten up.
Oh yeah,
and it's getting
absolutely.
better and better incrementally as we go. Depending on who the director is, we might have some issues there. But by and large, the show started getting more money. There's some movement happening.
Yeah.
In the production quality.
So from there, we cut back to Rhinox, and he's coming across. He actually makes this stage dive to the area where the pod had crashed, and it's covered with rocks. Rhinox has a rock biter moment where he picks up the big strong rock, and I just wanted to say, these look like big strong hands. But yeah, he picked up this big boulder that was on top of it, and everything's kind of shorting out. He starts shorting out because I guess the energon's so strong there.
Yeah.
He ends up he makes a decision. He looks around and everything. He's like, okay, you know what? I need to go. I need to do this.
I need fingers for this.
Yeah. So he sacrifices his weapons.
Divert power from weapons array to field dampers.
Which is now a thing, I guess.
Yeah, it's a thing. Well, something's got to do a thing.
I guess
There are things happening with the things.
things happen because of reasons.
Yeah.
So.
And what a reason.
Yeah. So he starts working on it.
He opens the thing up, and the stasis pod it's great because we haven't looked in one of these yet. We haven't looked inside of one of these, I don't think. at a bare protoform, and this is like a malfunctioning situation where it's just I've been hanging out at tfwiki.net a lot.
Okay.
All right, so
Team Fortress?
yes, Team Fortress, yeah. So so what it is what the Transformers have as cells are nanites, tiny little itty bitty robots that reconfigure themselves and do the thing, and they're what do the changes when DNA is read or other machines are such and such, and they have to make that transformation. Those nanites, that's what that soup is.
Okay.
So that's why the protoform literally has no shape when it's malfunctioning. It's just a spark sitting there in this soupy nanite glistening mercury sludge.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I was really confused as well because it's like, well, the 2 times that we saw protoform were in the first episode where everyone was crashing and we saw hands, and those were actual physical robot hands.
Those are like, okay, here's
you still look like big robot hands. And then the other time was when Tigertron crashed and the thing opened up a little bit and we saw his robot hand reach
a robot hand coming out. Yeah.
So, like, if something happened to the pod, they're just this soup?
It's damaged, so nothing is keeping the cells organized.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The and like I guess there's a little bit of overlap with the word protoform, because like in the movie, in the Bayverse, in the Bayformers universe, like there is protoform Starscream, a non-transforming robot. Who doesn't have his jet form yet. You know, they sell the toy and stuff like that. Whereas, like, and that, of course, happens way before, like 300-ish years before this this series happens. And the technology, I suppose, changes on how robots, how Transformers come into existence. A protoform is built. The nanites have to keep in some sort of order, which is why once later on when we do see the repairs starting to take hold, they solidify into an anthropomorphic shape.
See,
and
when I first saw it, I was like, oh, it's the T-1000.
Yeah.
But then like now with this explanation that you're giving me, I'm actually not liking it as much. Like, I mean, I understand it's malfunctioning and everything else, but now with other versions of the Transformers universe that was sent out, I don't know if you guys have seen or watched the Extinction Bay movies.
There's the Age of Extinction is the last one. Yeah.
If you guys have seen that, and this isn't really a big spoiler, but there's this guy, he invents this this tech where it's transformable matter.
Oh, yeah, Transformium.
The gimmick that they use is with this transformable matter, these Decepticons are made out of this material. They turn bad, and instead of like the really cool transformation sequences that all the Transformers do,
they turn into juice.
They turn into juice and transform immediately into something else. Like, it would be like, oh, we're gonna skip out like 800 rendering steps. We're not gonna actually. It was a cheap move.
I didn't.
And then now that you bring that up, like this whole series of it ties it in a very. It puts a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it does. It ties in like that. However, the thing that is different in this situation than what happens in the Bay movie is that once the protoform takes its shape,
it holds its shape.
It's stuck. There's
We're talking quickcrete here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fast drying.
So
it's fast drying. There are gears and levers.
Getting back to the protoform issues.
Yeah. We're still in juice. We're still
in the juice form. We could see the spark, which is kind of neat. Mm-hmm. And Rhinox finds out that there are bad things happening right now, like the containment chip, or what was that chip?
That is oh darn, I have that written down.
The locking chip,
which
is stasis lock chip, basically.
Yeah. This is
malfunctioning.
This is what keeps the permanent damage from happening.
Yeah.
When a Transformer goes into a coma, when it goes into stasis.
Yeah, so Rhinox tries to open up the console, and he's like, okay, he's like, enable it. And it's like, oh, well, the lock chip isn't working.
Mm-hmm. So this is when Cheetor shows up.
Yeah, and Cheetor's like, oh, you're here. And he's like, yeah. He's like, what are you doing here? It's like, I saw the thing. And he's like, I saw the thing. So yeah.
What's going on?
And we find out that
Big R, what's going on?
What's going on, Big R? I don't know, little cat. What's new?
Yeah, Cheetor can't call anything, including himself, by their proper name.
Yeah.
Except for Dinobot.
Except
But
for
anyway.
Dinobot. But yeah, like we find out that the system is damaged to the extent where the spark is failing, and he has 8 cycles or 8 minutes basically.
Yeah, 8.6 cycles
to get this thing back up and running or into a state where it can be salvaged. Mm-hmm. And Rhinox like pulls apart the console. He pulls out some tools. He starts digging, and Cheetor is like, "Well, what do we do? I don't, you know more about protoforms than I do."
Mm-hmm. It seems like Cheetor doesn't even know what dying is.
No, what's that?
Yeah, because Rhinox says the protoform is dying, and Cheetor says, "What's that mean?"
But it's like, come on, man. You like to die.
Yeah, the spark's going out, man.
The death.
This thing's fading.
The deep sleep.
Mm-hmm.
The 86.
So Cheetor is going to go under.
Well, he's like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do you think? And then Rhinox is like, well, there is one thing, and he's like, well, all right, do it. So he sits down. Mm-hmm. He puts himself in repair mode. He shuts himself down. Mm-hmm. And then we have a hallucination.
Before the hallucination, we cut to Tigatron.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, who smells Predacons.
Well, no, he doesn't smell Predacons.
He doesn't?
No.
No?
He's walking around, and then,
he just says Predacons?
Yeah.
Who's calling them because he's hunting?
No, he picks up on Scorponok because Scorponok is doing his Castaneda's dance again and gets him into trouble. It's like, dude's got a jam.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's like, dude's got a... Dude, I got this
groove
singing, going.
He's
like,
doing his Megatron dance.
And then that alerts Tigatron. Tigatron's like, Predicons.
and he maximizes, and luckily, thankfully, he doesn't maximize into stealth mode.
Yeah, he doesn't need stealth mode this time.
He just gets up and calls out.
He doesn't need battle mode either.
Yeah, says, Scorponok, what you doing?
Yeah. Hey, Predicon, what's up?
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not telling you nothing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's like, I ain't saying nothing to you. Scorponok, terror. No.
Yeah.
And Tigatron shoots him with a freeze gun, with a sweet freeze gun.
Which is the first time that we've seen it.
Yeah, we haven't seen that yet.
Like
everybody's got
like that.
Everybody's got special artillery in this episode.
I guess, yeah.
But the freeze gun was sweet.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, you know what? I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
Like,
and
I'm freezing, I'm going to walk away, I'm going to go do this or whatever. I got stuff to do.
Yeah, and then while he's saying that, Black Arachnia is sneaking up behind him.
Yeah, and he's like, that's a shame you don't have time to play. Mm-hmm. And then shoots him with a venomous dart.
Yeah, with her special artillery for the episode.
Yeah. And then basically takes him out.
Yeah, and he's all glowing red and freaking out.
Yeah, all pixelated and...
Yeah, it looks painful.
Yeah.
It didn't look comfortable.
No, I mean, he makes an attempt to just rip it out of his chest, but it just doesn't work. But yeah, I guess this is a special venomous dart that she prepared. And, but yeah, she takes him out, and then she, I guess, just leaves them both there.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to come back for you. I'm going to go get the protoform for me and make a new Predacon.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. That's what she's finna do, because everybody wants to do that.
Everyone does. And then she leaves.
Yeah, she just walks off. Tigatron is just laying there, and that's when we get to dive back into one of Cheetor's famous fever dreams.
Yeah,
I'm beginning to think he's a little psychic.
Nah, I don't know about psychic.
He's got some kind of a premonition thing going on.
See, I don't think it's a premonition thing. Like in the sequence. He's doing this like head wobble thing, like
Same kind of like fisheye lens.
It's his Jim Morrison impression. That's what he's doing. He's doing like this snaky like dance with his head moving around and stuff. He doesn't have any premonitions. Basically, all of a sudden, Rhinox shows up and goes, "What's new, pussycat?"
Yep.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. And then he holds out his hands and he has the spark in his hands.
Yeah, and she was like, ooh, a spark.
He's like, yeah, and then he starts going off into the speech of the sparks and what they are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When a mommy transformer and a daddy transformer love each other very much.
There's actually legit a typo in Rhinox's speech.
Really?
Yeah, because he says that every Cybertron has one, Maximal and Predicon. When he means
every Cybertronian.
Yeah.
Are you sure it was every Cybertron? Or
Yeah, every
I thought I
Cybertron.
heard Cybertronian.
He says
Every Cybertron, Maximal or Predicon has one.
everyone is a special snowflake. Everyone is different. And when a spark comes online,
There's great joy.
and then Cheetor wakes up and says, "Ultra Gear," because Rhinox got all mystic on him.
Well, the funny thing is, like, when all that happened, I'm like, I briefly thought, I'm like, did somehow, some way, like, when Rhinox put him under, like, he transferred the spark somehow to run off of... Let's see, this would make more sense to me, because, like, okay, they don't have enough time to bring the pod back to the Axalon.
They did a good job covering those bases. Because, like, there are all these things where, like, if they didn't even try, if that hadn't come up in conversation, well, we got to take it back to the Axalon. We got to do this. We got to do that. And they're like, no, we can't do that. There's not enough time.
Yeah. But
You know.
what I thought, because of what was happening and the fever dream, and this is, in my opinion, would make a little bit more sense, but I thought at that moment when he was shut down that Rhinox was patching through Cheetor's circuitry to the protoform to basically tie it over or hold it over until they're able to get it back to the Axalon.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm gonna... Well, it's like the Simpsons episode where Bart gets his head cut off.
Which Treehouse of Terror was this?
I can't remember. I think it was maybe 13 or 14.
Okay. The higher the number they get, the less I've watched.
Okay, so yeah, 13, 14... Bart gets his head chopped off, or knocked off. He gets decapitated, and his sister is there. And Dr. Nick basically decides that the best way, and this is in concert working with Dr. Hibbard, right? Decides the best way to keep Bart alive until they figure out a better solution is to sew him to Lisa's neck.
Oh, okay.
So, like, he's getting his blood, his oxygen, and everything else. Lisa is his life support system, keeping him alive until, they can figure out what to do with
Does
his
she ever
body.
hold her breath and...
I don't know.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't remember. But I thought that was something similar would have happened, that Rhinox would have patched in Cheetor's circuitry in order to kind of act as life support, because Cheetor is in stasis at that point, to try to hold him over until they could get it back to the Axalon. But that doesn't happen.
No, it's just the locking chip.
Yeah, the locking chip
they
for
just-
stasis lock.
Yeah.
And he patches it in, and it doesn't... Well, it kind of works.
It helps. What it does is it buys them some time. The protoform takes shape at that point. Turns back into an anthropomorphic shape. Looks like a faceless, non-transforming robot.
Okay.
At least it's back. It's not in critical condition, but there's still only a limited amount of time left before. It's still dying.
Yeah, it's still dying.
It's still dying. But step one is taken care of. So we have a donor organ.
We have a donor organ.
We have
It
a
pops in
donor
there.
organ. Now we need a DNA transplant.
Yeah, because basically what they ended up doing is they went to go... They put in the stasis lock thing. It buys them more time. Rhinox tries to run a secondary protocol on the pod to initiate the service. And
Because that's what... Yeah, since the stasis lock is enabled, if the DNA sequencer works, the pod can scan for a life form for the protoform to adapt to, but this is a wasteland. Nothing lives there.
Yeah, they can't find anything.
So they got to be lucky.
Yeah, and they're not.
Oh, but even then, the DNA sequencer is not working.
No, it's not
busted,
working.
and Rhinox
It's
now has
yeah.
to fix that.
But
and this
yeah.
is when the Predicons start showing up.
Yeah.
Is Black Arachnia is who shows up first? Yes.
Yeah, Black Arachnia first shows up. And then...
And Cheetor has to take her on.
Yeah, Cheetor takes her on.
Mm-hmm.
And my God, she kicks some butt.
Yeah,
Like,
she
there's
just stomps
a
all
lot of
over
back
him. This is
and
the
forth.
second time?
Yeah, there's
Did
some...
he get his revenge on her? Has this gone back and forth?
No.
She
It
just
hasn't been back and
when
forth.
when she was birthed, she just walked all over him literally. And then I don't know that they've seen each other until now.
No, because the next time that there was a big assault, Black Arachnia was not there. Like, she was all tied up.
Not even when. What about when?
When Rhinox went bad, she was tied up with... she was tied up still.
Huh.
And there's a funny quip here in between the two, where she was making a quip at him, and then
Must be my day for cats or something like that.
something like that, and he's like, "Hey, hey, lady, how can you dance with such skinny legs?"
Yeah.
I guess Cheetor really likes the thick ladies.
And she doesn't like that at all.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. And then she makes a comment, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well you're ugly too." It's like, okay,
Your legs are skinny and you're not attractive. That's what I got to say to you.
your personality's not good enough to make up for it.
And then he put rocks on top of her.
Yeah. I'm just gonna put this here. Just gonna put this on top of you.
You lay down, I'll put rocks on you. Your legs are very spindly. So,
But then she breaks out and starts kicking the crap out of him.
after a pointless bit of acrobatics.
Yeah. She does this weird flip.
Yeah,
No
she jumps out
reason.
and then does a flip for no reason, and it did stick out. It did stick out because everything else in this episode pretty much had a point to it. But then she just does this one flip, and then she she let loose with the
She lets loose with her leg cannons.
the leg machine guns are so cool.
Yeah.
Yep,
Alright.
she's just like tarantulas.
Yeah. Well,
Super.
obviously.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, and then he runs away, and there's a big fight scene in between the two.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, she has him pinned. She pulls out her magic.
Oh yeah,
venom
her
dart,
special artillery.
puts it right up to his head. He kind of grabs the gun, and then quickly, when she's about to shoot, flips it around. So he
Grabs it after she shoots it.
Oh.
She shoots it. He grabs the that like dart, the venom dart.
He grabs the dart? All
and
ninja
then-
style?
Yeah, all
Man,
ninja
I
style.
totally missed that
Yeah,
then.
he's on his back. She trains down on him, fires. He catches it and then stabs her in the face with it, which was awesome.
Stabs her in the face with her face.
So she got, but that fight wasn't nearly as good as the Waspinator scene immediately
Oh
afterwards,
God, yeah.
because that was bad as hell.
we cut like after he's like, okay, fine, great. Oh, I gotta go back, and then all of a sudden you see Waspinator kind of flying off in the distance. He's like, oh no, he's heading right to the pod, and then we
Yeah,
cut.
he's heading straight for Rhinox.
Yeah. So like Cheetor just goes ahead and starts shooting at Waspinator, and we have Waspinator like with his
Who dares?
Who dares?
Who dares attack
Shoot at
Waspinator?
Waspinator.
Waspinator terrorize. I'll use the show audio for that.
God,
I don't
that's
dare
so
do that
great.
voice. But yeah, it was so cool. And when Waspinator starts flying after Cheetor, because right after that, then Pterosaur shows up.
Yeah, Pterosaur.
So Cheetor is having a bad day.
Yeah, he is.
This is not going well.
'Cause I had a bad day. You take it one down. You got shot with a dart, but you turned it around.
Well done.
There you go.
So Pterosaur's there, and Waspinator is chasing Cheetor, and this is the best. This is the shot of the show. Waspinator for me, Waspinator diving through the rocks and doing those sharp turns around the pillars right before there's this great flight sequence for Waspinator where he is not a failure.
Yeah, and yes,
He
I
is
agree
not
with
a
you.
failure.
And
He is a killer Predacon who is on the hunt.
Yeah,
and he's getting Cheetor. He's
Yeah.
catching up. Cheetor is running out of gas. He can't do this for too much longer.
no, he's definitely losing stamina. I agree with you that the shots in all of these sequences, including the fight with Black Arachnia, have been phenomenal. Like Colin Davies has done a great job with the pacing. He's done a great job with the camera angles and the way that he shot it, even like the basics, silly camera motion, the way that it follows and everything else. It does a really great job. It really kind of pulls you into the action, and without being over the top or being, your standard old CG camera pans.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed this sequence as well because while they're fighting and chasing after Cheetor, they end up splitting up.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just Waspinator on the tail of Cheetor. Cheetor basically gets to a certain point, tricks Waspinator, and then Waspinator gets hit by one of those geysers.
Yeah, he jumps over one of those guys.
And almost immediately goes into stasis lock.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Cheetor ends up because Cheetor doesn't have a. Does he have a little bit of a firefight with Pterosaur after this? Is that what starts locking him down? Or is
No.
it just the fact that he doesn't have his locking chip?
He didn't have his locking chip when the fight started.
Yeah. So he's just
he's been transformed since Black Arachne showed up.
Yeah.
And then after that, immediately started with the two of them. And then midway through that fight, he started shorting out.
Yeah, he's all shields down.
Yeah, and he doesn't have his locking chip, so he needs to transform into beast mode, and that starts the chase. So he takes off. So he's in beast mode. Pterosaur sneaks up behind him and shoots him.
Oh, okay. All right.
He shoots him, blows him off over. He hits a rock pile, gets knocked out. All hail Pterosaur. Pterosaur goes over.
That's what I have written down.
And then Pterosaur, after killing Cheetor, goes and heads back to Rhinox,
who has been working on the DNA sequencer.
Yeah,
and been failing at working on the DNA sequencer. And then he does what you were talking about earlier, and he patches himself into the stasis pod.
To give his code for the DNA sequencer.
Yeah, which really shows you why he didn't hook Cheetor up to it, because it's dangerous.
Because Rhinox heart Cheetor.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't want Cheetor to have to go through that. Imagine that, Cheetor is not built for that kind of trauma.
No, but he's dumb, so he might forget about
Rhinox out.
Yeah, he gets knocked back, and he's about to completely go into stasis lock because it fries out his dampeners basically.
Yeah, he is done. He is toasted, and he has to re-swallow his face, go back to beast mode, and lay down as a tired little rhinoceros.
And he passes out. And at this point, this is where Pterosaur gets back to the pod, kills Rhinox, and then takes the protoform.
Yep. And then the Predacons won the Beast Wars.
Yeah.
All hail Pterosaur.
Yeah.
So Rhinox wakes up, Pterosaur's there, and Pterosaur wants to gloat.
Yep.
And he does his gloating, but in the midst of all of that, the DNA sequencer fires up, and that bird from the beginning of the show
just happens
has
to
shown up.
Yeah, come into range for it to get caught.
Yes.
Now there was a sequence of that before where the sequencer went to go do a scan after Rhinox
and found
shocked
nothing.
and everything, found nothing, and that's why Rhinox just felt really defeated and had to take a nap.
Yep. After taking parts from Cheetor and then having donated his own DNA sequencing protocol.
Yeah.
It was just all for nothing.
Yeah. So
apparently. But Lucky Bird
gets scanned.
Lucky Bird is lucky.
And then the sequence was so powerful and so raw and what's the word I'm looking for? Carnal, that the Maximal that was in the pod was screaming as it leapt out of the pod.
Yep. Crowing.
Like
a rooster. Razor sounds like a rooster, man.
and then shot out. So then as it shot out, it took the form of the bird.
Yep. And Pterosaur is mad because Pterosaur was late.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really the thing that is the real bummer for the Predacon side. They did not get there in time.
Yeah, and it's now a Maximal.
Yep.
Like they were not able to catch it. They were not able to reprogram it. It's a done deal.
Yep.
And it's all done.
And Rhinox says, "Well, how do you feel about it now,
Yeah,
Pterosaur?"
You can't put the baby back in.
No.
But yeah.
And then Air-Razor is huge. Did you catch this? Did you see how big the bird was? Because the bird, beast mode Air-Razor is who is attacking Pterosaur first. Comes up behind him, and the claws are just huge. The claws pick Pterosaur up and fly him into rocks.
Yeah. But the thing the thing here, we don't get the name.
We don't get the name
until a little bit later.
Yeah.
But yeah, the hawk.
Yeah.
Which actually is a peregrine falcon, actually.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay.
The hawk goes, and there's a fight sequence. Pterosaur starts attacking it, chasing after it, shooting after it. And then at one point, it just is fed up, turns around, and then we hear its name.
Yep. Air-Razor, maximize.
Falcatron. Parafalcatron, maximize. Why? Why not? Why not? Everyone else has their kind of well, except for Optimus Primal. Why not?
I don't know.
Man, so disappointed. I wanted a crappy name for the Hawk Peregrine Falcon.
You can't have a crappy name, but you can have a crappy toy. The Air-Razor toy is awful. The original Air-Razor toy is terrible. The Transmetal Air-Razor toy is pretty good, but we don't have that animated in this series, so I hate it, and I just want an original, really bad Air-Razor.
Yeah, and when she, she's female, and when she maximizes, my gosh. Like, she tears Pterosaur apart, literally.
Yeah, she has this,
My
like,
God.
she has the quick-firing wrist missile launcher thing going on.
She has the wrist missiles. She has another thing that I can't remember what she fires, but, like, there's a couple shots. The first hit hits Pterosaur in the face, and I guess he loses what looks like a tooth, kind of falls out of his mouth. And then it cuts to her just shooting a bunch. And then all of a sudden,
We just look at the ground, and
Yeah.
we just see pieces of Pterosaur.
there's like 12 pieces or so hitting the ground, and
Yeah,
then
a
the last piece
well-timed-
that hit the ground was his
Face.
head.
Yeah, his head just lands right in front of the camera. That's a good shot.
That was a good shot.
That was a good shot. And they didn't do anything stupid and cartoony with his face.
Correct.
They didn't do the toothy grin falling out. They didn't squish him.
Yeah. See, you in the episode where Rat Trap is a spy and he's taken in as a Predicon and all that other stuff, you thought that the shot of the head shot of Pterosaur being the shot of that episode, like that was the moment.
Yeah.
I think the way that it was presented here,
It was a little
that
grisly.
definitely trumps,
Yeah.
that scene.
Oh yeah.
But
This was a lot more grisly than.
It was really great.
It was pretty ruthless, man.
Yeah.
To see a Maximal do that.
And then, well, I mean, that's pretty much it. Air Razor goes and lands, meets up with Rhinox, and she's like, "Rhinox, is it?" He's like, "How did you know
How did you know?"
my name?" She's like, "I don't know." It's like, is this some foreshadowing that they're gonna have a thing?
No. Well, she says, "I don't know, but I'm pretty sure I owe you my life."
Yeah, and he's like, "I guess where you from?"
Yeah, and that's the thing. The thing is that, like, what we have here is that this is kind of a since Rhinox donated part of his programming to her, they have a bond now. That's almost like, not necessarily father-daughter, but like uncle and niece. They're related almost by they're related by DNA practically, as well as and she has parts of Cheetor. Because she's got his locking chip. So between Cheetor's locking chip, they're like brother and sister, and then Rhinox to her is a little paternal, slightly paternal. But either way, the thing is that Airazor knows more than a protoform. No, Airazor just knows more than a protoform should have known coming right out of the box.
Okay.
Because she has this different connection between herself and the robots that are around her.
How can you really debate that? Because the only other protoform situation that we've been exposed to,
we saw Tigatron.
It was Tigatron, and he had a damaged. He was damaged in the crash and being exposed to Energon and not having a beast mode form, and that was the explanation of his identity circuits and his basic memory, right?
And then he was mostly cat. Because of all that. He didn't have the same kind of affinity to the robots.
But neither did she. Because she was scanned and then she immediately flew out. Mm-hmm. And she was damaged. Dude, she was soup. When the thing opened up, I mean, it reminded me of the scene from The Last Starfighter.
Didn't see it.
Oh. You should.
Okay.
There's a scene where the main character, he gets whisked away to a planet to deal with stuff, but in his place at home, there's this android robot type thing that they put in his place. And basically, when they drop it off, it collects a DNA sample, and then it spends several hours going and basically building its tissue up. It looked like, the scene from Hellraiser where he puts himself back together and seeps up through the floor.
Yes.
It's very kind of reminiscent of that, but in a more kid-friendly aspect.
All right.
But, I mean, you see skin, you see, ooze, you see, veins and tissue being developed and all this other stuff. I mean, it's just a very primordial thing going on.
Okay, so Last Starfighter is
Last
like
Starfighter.
Hellraiser?
No.
Oh.
It's not at all.
Okay.
But that scene was just... never mind. YouTube it.
I will.
You'll see what I mean. In any case. But, so that's that.
Mm-hmm.
They head back to the Axalon.
Yep, they go back to the Axalon, and Rhinox is telling Optimus that he showed up late to the party.
He never showed up.
Yeah, we never saw him.
And that kind of rings home that Tigertron never called them. Mm-hmm. He's like, call him. Yep, it's done.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
Already did.
Yeah, I took out the trash.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah. But yeah, he's like, okay. So, and then Prime's like, oh, welcome to the team.
Yep, welcome to the Axalon. Can I show you around? And I swear to God, he checks
Come
out
here
her butt.
often.
I swear to God,
Really?
there's a frame
I
where
missed
she's
it.
walking by and he looks down. I was like,
Nice.
hey.
But then there's a quip by a couple of people he's introducing, and then Rat Trap makes a comment. What did Rat Trap say?
Oh, yeah, that's right. He says, she says, well, this is all pretty new to me. I don't know what to make of it. And he says, well, if you were smart, you would make tracks.
Yeah, get out of there.
Which is actually a G1 reference. There is an episode called Making Tracks.
Okay.
It's where an Autobot is stolen by car thieves. And yes, in an effort, in cooperation with local police, to stop a ring of car thieves, and he is stolen, and pieces of him are taken off, and then a kid, a prince, like a Middle Eastern prince, takes him over and steals parts and puts a Mercedes-Benz grill on him and stuff like that. Yeah, by either way, it was there's an episode. It wasn't good.
But what I found really funny here is that Optimus, Optimus at this time, he's like, you get used to them.
Oh yeah.
Maybe. It just kind of seemed like, this is our place. It's pretty good. It's not. It kind of all right.
You got to jiggle the handle on the toilet so that it refills,
or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this place is crap. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the
place is pretty broken.
It fell from the sky.
It fell from the sky twice.
It's not as in bad a shape as the Darksyde.
Yeah.
But the lights, sometimes the lights don't work. It doesn't fly. Mm-hmm. A bit of a draft. There's rats.
Mm-hmm. And then Rhinox closes out by saying, "When a spark comes online, there is great joy." And then it cuts to Cheetor, because Cheetor is psychic. Roll credits.
No! No! No!
They have the same interaction from his dream. And you noticed in the first one...
It's not the
and
same
you
interaction.
noticed from the first
No.
Cheetor fever dream that there was the snippet of Rat Trap saving him from the end of the show. And I thought that it was just recycled footage to eat up that extra second because they had to hit 22 minutes. But no, I think that you were right. He had a premonition. And he had a little bit of foresight into something that was going to happen. So and he learned about mystical spark stuff because he was offline and talking with Rhinox, and Rhinox was using a phrase. He said, "What's new, pussycat?" which is something that Cheetor says to himself.
I know it's what he says to himself.
Rhinox is a projection of Cheetor in that situation.
Here, let's open up this. Let's open this up. Let's open up the pit.
Uh-huh.
First, we have it documented that you said I was right.
Yeah.
So, and now all you at home listening to this know that I'm right. But in this instance, like he's in repair mode.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not offline. He's not in stasis lock. I mean, he's just in repair mode. And it is possible that,
What do you think, he's just listening to Rhinox muttering to
maybe,
himself all this mystical stuff over Cheetor's sleeping body?
We're talking about Rhinox here. Mm-hmm. Rhinox does strike you as the type of person who while he's like taking out the chip, reaffirming his friend who's currently unconscious, and while he's doing stuff, taking things out of his brain and putting it into the thing, and talking about how much of a beautiful thing bringing a life into this world is.
Yes, Rhinox could be doing that.
And like, I mean, it makes sense because Rhinox is the type of guy to say these type of things to calm his nerves so he could keep steady while he's doing this fine stuff. Fine tuning or tweaking of this damaged stuff, repairing. Also being elbows deep into his best friend in a very plutonic surgical...
Yeah.
A good friend, then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, as far as being a premonition, No, I don't think so. If it was something a little bit more, like maybe something in regards to how the fight with either Black Arachnia or Pterosaur or Waspinator ended up, or how Air Razor went and finished up the fight, or whatever, then yes. But, for an end scene of, Rhinox just saying, and when a spark is born, brought into this universe, the universe is happy, blah, blah, blah.
Maybe Cheetor's just remembering some sermoning from Cybertron Church.
Maybe.
Churchotron.
Churchotron.
Cyber Church.
Mass.
I should have gone with Cyber Church. That flows better.
Massator.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. We know Cheetor can be smart.
Yes.
So just because he has an issue recalling immediately doesn't necessarily mean he does not know it. So maybe in his turned off state, he's recalling something that he's heard, and being that he was just dealing with Rhinox, that is the form that it took in his dream.
All right.
I'm still right about the premonition, possibly about Rat Trap.
He's psychic. Okay, so Cheetor is psychic, but just not psychic today.
Sure.
Okay, fine. Cheetor is psychic. In other news, Air Razor in Japan is a boy.
Really?
Totally. Yeah, he's shonen. He's a little bit shonen boy.
Nice.
Yeah, and because they didn't think that a female toy would sell.
Really?
Yes, they were worried.
Is Black
that
Arachnia?
I don't know. No,
male?
Well, Black Arachnia is a repaint of Tarantulas as far as the toy on the shelf goes. So, but they were there was some concern about that, and they made Air Razor a boy in Japan.
Huh.
Yeah, which may or may not complicate things that happen in upcoming episodes. But but either way,
You're gonna have to spill that later, then.
Oh, it'll spill itself. So Cheetor is psychic. Air Razor is a boy in Japan, but however, in a sequel, it was solidified that they changed her back. They changed Air Razor back to a girl later on when there's a Beast Wars sequel later on. So that happened. But until then, we have a two-parter coming up. The next couple of episodes are a two-parter of I'm trying to think of what. Oh, The Trigger. I didn't even have to grab my phone. The Trigger. It's a two-parter, heavily featuring Tigatron and Air Razor.
Nice.
It's going to be a kick-ass couple of weeks, so we're going to have to see you when we see those.
Yep. Next time.
Yep. Next time on the Transformers Beast Wars podcast,
which you can find at OptimusPrimecast.com.
And don't forget, I've been Dale,
and I've been Eric.
See you guys next week. High five.